Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bazati's NUFC channel for his very first episode of the look ahead to the next game, which is obviously Wolves. I've got two excited guests at the back, one making his debut, and I've got Jim from my other show, raring to go again. So let's not waste any time. Let's bring our guests in. So, Jim, good evening. What do you think of the video?
That was really good. Really impressed.
Which gets you going, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, every little tagline had that was perfect.
Good. Glad you enjoyed. Let's bring Craig in. Hello, Craig.
All right, Baz. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Like the video. I think you missed the trick. You could have put no hope at the end with a picture of Steve Bruce.
Well, we're all hoping he's going to be sacked soon, so then I'll have to pay another 35 quid to get him taken out of it. So good one though. Are you raring to go? Pop in your cherry tonight on your very first YouTube channel show?
Yeah, excited. Good crack with you lads and see what happens.
Happy days. So we're looking towards the Wolves game. So before we start chatting about Wolves and what's going on with them lot, let's put some teams on. So, Jim, there's your starting 11 going along the bottom. Can you talk us through it, please, and your formation?
Aye. Well, I don't know if people think this is the football manager but I went for Dubravka in goal just because I think it's probably past the time when he should have been back. Really, I just think it's past the time for the best players that you've got on your squad at the end of the day, and I think he's obviously our best goalkeeper. I know it's not a slight on Darlow at all because he's been amazing, really. He's probably, he's gained with points by the way he's played, probably, which I would have thought. But it's just we're coming down to the shit end of the season, basically, and where we are shitting our pants, and it's time for the best players. We need to get a spine through that middle, and we need to get to Dubravka and goal again. I think, and actually, I know that you both agree with that, don't you?
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Exactly. I've got Lascelles and Clark at the back because there's nothing else you can do with it, I suppose, at the end of the day.
I think Craig's dropped off there, so we'll carry on without him.
Lascelles and Clark at the back because there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah,
it just shines a light on Lejeune having a blinder in Spain, which is a little bit of a. Oh, there you are.
Technical issues.
Disappeared there. The hamster stopped running around.
You pulled the cells in your team. I thought, I'm not having that.
Unfortunately, it's Lewis left back, Kraft right.
Yeah.
Which is again, I was talking to you beforehand about bringing Dummett back in as well, but the two wingers that you've got, Neto's rapid, isn't he? So I think we probably need Lewis against him. We won't kind of do anything about right back, so it's going to be Kraft against Traore by the looks of it, which is a bit of a nightmare. But they're going to have to surely, after the last game against Man United, they've looked at that and thought, well, right back's a problem for us, so they're going to have to get somebody to come and help out, basically. Then I went for sort of the Hayden's sitting, Willock sort of in the middle. Need to keep Almiron centre, I think, because I think that's where most of his assists have come from and his goals. And just to get Fraser in, because Steve Bruce with his know-how doesn't realise that he can actually play Fraser and ASM in the same team. He keeps on subbing them and then bringing them off and whatever. But you could start ASM on the left and put Fraser on the right, and they could swap over in a dynamic formation.
We've gone for a 4-2-3-1. Is that correct?
Yeah, sort of a 4-2-3-1. Gale up top. So it would be either Gale or Carroll for me. Well, there's not much you can choose from, obviously, with Nightmare or Wilson, like. But yeah, that would be mine. That would happen.
This is the other thing. What we want is completely different to what Bruce actually does.
What's gonna happen?
We'll just jump to some comments before we move on to Craig's team. That's if they show up properly. So we've got Thomas again, who was on our last show, Jim, remember? Saying hey, evening, Thomas. Good lad. He was also on the Four Horsemen show as well.
Oh, nice.
Paul, new follower, evening, lads. He's watching. It's a good lad. He's going to be on one of the shows later on, the one Know Your Fans. What the hell's going on with Richie? Ooh, we'll come back to that one later because that is a very good question. But we'll jump on to Craig's team. There's your formation going along the bottom, pal. And your team, do you want to talk me through it?
Yeah, well, like Jim was saying there about Dubravka, I think it's about time that he came in. I've been saying Darlow hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's come in, he's performed really well. He's kept us in games. I was thinking about it before, and other than Callum Lewis, he's probably made the most points for this season with some of his performances. Now he's really stood up to the mark and played really well, but I think now he's looked a bit dodgy, at fault maybe for a couple of goals recently against Man United. Dubravka's probably our better goalkeeper. There's not a great deal in it, I don't think, between the two of them, but yeah, I think it's about time he came in. Back forwards, have said, pretty much picks itself. There's nobody else. Fernandez might be in the squad I read earlier, so that's a bit of a promising thing. Maybe get him in at some point. Head of Clark. Like you said, don't agree with that one, Jim?
I think Clark's just dependable. Me, Lascelles, who worries me. But with him being captain, it's sort of. But the thing is, we're playing at the minute like we haven't got a captain.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's been a lot of talk on Twitter about dropping Lascelles and keeping Clark in and bringing Fernandez back. But I think the Wolves game's too soon for Fernandez anyway.
He's not going to be fit for that one, but.
Yeah, so we are kind of stuck with the back four that we've got.
Yeah, and so I think a middle two of Hayden and Shelby. I think Hayden is a bit more defensive, mobile. You can look after the ball, win it back, give it to Shelby. You can actually do something with it. He could just sit on the centre circle and ping balls to ASM and Almiron and Carroll. That's all he needs to do. He's not going to run. He's not going to get up and down, is he? But with his range of passing, you got ASM on one wing, Almiron on the other. They're going to bomb forward. He can pick them out. Target man Carroll up front. He can bring them two in, coming wide. Willock again. He's got some legs on him, so he can get up and down and can kind of bring him into the game as well. I think so. When you put it down on paper and you talk it through in your head, it's like a perfect team and it works. But whether that team gets picked on Saturday or they play that way or what, it's kind of that thing.
Yeah, it's all down to Bruce, isn't it? You've obviously gone for Carroll up front, haven't you? So do you want to talk why you picked Carroll over Gale?
I think it's a bit of a toss-up, really. I think Carroll gives a bit of different dimension. Like I say, he can bring in Almiron and Maximin, Willock. They can come in. Can stretch the game a bit. They've got the pace as well, so you can kind of go a bit long. Get the ball there. He's not going to last 90 minutes. So 70 minutes or so, he can bring Gale on, who's got a few more legs. He can run about a bit extra when they're getting tired and come on. But if Gale starts, you're going to play a totally different way, whether you've got Gale or whether you've got Carroll. But I think especially with the two of them, even, you're chasing the game, something can come off, you can put the two of them up there. One way or the other, you've got a bit of variability and you can change how you're playing, can't you? With either of them. So
I agree.
See what happens. See how it goes.
So I've got mine. I've gone for an ambitious 4-1-4-1 because I wanted to be different, because technically it's really a 4-2-3-1 to be honest with you. But there you are. Dubs and goal. completely agree with you guys. It's time our number one goalkeeper was back in goal. There's, a few errors creeping into Darlow's game again. They should never have conceded at the front post against Man United. He doesn't seem to shout at the players either. That's the one thing I think we're missing at the back, is De Bradford not shouting at the back four. Sorry, Darlow not shouting at the back four, and De Bradford will do that. We've seen that in the past, and remember his debut against Man United, he was so commanding in that game.
Yes.
We need that back, don't we, basically? So the defence again, it was a toss-up between Lewis at left back with Dummett. Dummett doesn't have the pace though, so it's kind of a, can we impose our game on them, or do we play Lewis for that extra pace to try and keep up with Traoré or Neto? Like you mentioned, both of them have got speed, so we're in trouble either way on down the left or down the right, which unfortunately we've got Emil Crap, as a lot of people like to call him, because he is absolutely terrible. The Sells and Clark pick themselves at the moment. Like you mentioned, Fernandez will probably maybe come back in. It depends. Like you said, the Sells is our club captain, isn't he? So I would like to give the captain's arm back to Bradford myself and take that responsibility away from the Sells and see if we can get the Sells back to being the Sells again. Because he is a miss. He was that voice in the dressing room, wasn't he, when we went down the last time, and he was that mountain of a man in the Championship and kept us in the Premier League under Rafa for 2 years. So we want that Lascelles back. Don't know if we're going to see it again for a while, though. The midfield, I got Hayden sitting, as he always does. I think he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, if I'm quite honest. He gets overlooked for England, which is a bit of a shame. He's been so loyal to all us as Geordie's up here. He could have left. He wanted to leave, but he stayed because of the fans. So that always gives him a little bit of an extra higher mark than everybody else in our squad. Willock, I'm enjoying watching him play so far. You're right, he's got the legs, he's young. He seems to be hungry for it, which is good because he is just on loan until the end of the season. Like to see him get in the box a bit more as well and keep trying to get in there and not put dodgy tackles in our box. That would be nice. I'm a fan of Shelby. I have been for a long time. Craig, I'm the same as you. Just sit him in the midfield and just let him ping the balls down into the channels. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And this is why I pick Gale over Carroll, because if you can get the balls in the channels, Gale's the one. I know. Well, this is what we want, though. Remember, this is not what happens. This is what we would like to see. So this is why we do the show, don't we?
Why would you pick Shelby?
I always pick Shelby.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say they wouldn't, but I still think there's a player in there. I really do.
Well, he's too slow, and he doesn't create anything, and he also doesn't score goals anymore. And when he shoots, it usually just spoons off into the stand now.
Yeah, some of his shots have been terrible. He did score against Palace, though. Remember
what?
He did score against Palace. That was a good goal.
Right before that.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
I mean, I'm sorry, but he's getting in off, I don't know, what is his reputation or something, but his reputation has been trashed, I think. I think
somebody like Shelby, he needs to play the way I'm not saying you build a team around Shelby, but it's that kind of mentality that he needs to be the quarterback and put players around him who can utilize what his talents, what he's got, because he's one of the better passers in the Premier League. From that, I've complained a lot of times the fact that he has one ball and that's over the top. Mm-hmm. You've seen it multiple times the early part of the season with Callum Wilson just running on a straight ball over the back of the defense. He runs on, but like you're saying, Gale's got the possibility to do something like that. Carroll doesn't, but then you play a different way.
Yeah, so Gale, we've got Almiron and ASM as well. We've got the pace to be able to run into the channels where Carroll can get into the box potentially, which is the thing we missed against Man United. I don't know if you watched the game. Remember when Almiron got the ball down the left wing and absolutely skinned past Lindelof? When he looked up in the box, there was Joe Linton just slowly making his way into the opposition half, and you're thinking, why isn't he busting? But, this is the problem we've got.
I don't even think Carroll would be there. Gale might have been.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I would pick Gale over Carroll, because he's a bit more hungrier than. Well, is he not? We don't know.
It's just you've got to be able to keep up with him, haven't you? At the end of the day.
Yeah. And Gale's got the pace to keep up with him. So, but again, Carroll being that far back potentially to get up to support him. I don't know. It's one of those ifs and buts situations, isn't it? But that's my team, and we're very much down the same line. I know we've obviously got not as many players as we like to pick from, but it does all make sense. Let's move on to some comments because there's quite a few coming in and I don't want to miss them all. It'd be a bit unfair if we don't get a chance to read them all out. And it's just learning how to do this without a mouse. It's an absolute nightmare because there are a lot of comments coming in, boys, which is nice. We've got 5 people watching. 5 people want to hear our crap. But why Kraft? That's insane. Well, because he's the only right back we've got, Christensen. That's the only reason why we're playing.
I would rather play, like, you can't move people out of position. Like, playing Hayden right back would just be stupid because you're just missing.
You take away his midfield.
And changing the formation would be daft as well. Like, you can't play 5 at the back anymore. It's been done and dusted. Like,
I mean, he tried Murphy at right back, didn't he, for his pace, but that didn't work because he got found out very quickly. So he's another player I don't really rate his Premiership standard, to be honest with you. He's gone.
Probably could have done with keeping Yedlin, really, couldn't he?
Yeah, just a little bit. Imagine we had Lejeune as well.
Lejeune's another player who we should never have got rid of.
He's only on
I know, but he's got a contract agreement, hasn't he, with a loan fee, so they can't cancel it unless they pay that back. And Ashley's not going to pay money back, is he? So
well done, lads.
Yeah, I know. It's Ashley all over for you and Charlie, isn't it?
I did like proper debate to myself over the Carroll and Gale situation, like just with Carroll and going with like just forcing it now and just getting the I mean, if you played with Fraser and ASM and Almiron, Carroll up top, hitting the wingers, I mean, it'd be perfect, wouldn't it? But we'll never bloody. When did we ever start banging crosses in? Like,
well, this is it. I mean, I remember the last time when he had Carroll on, he took Carroll off. Then we started putting crosses in and put wingers on the pitch. He just doesn't know what he's doing, Bruce, half the time, does he? So
that's the thing. Like ASM and Almiron, they're not wingers. They're not Ginola and Gillespie. They're more like inside forwards on and inverted wingers, like coming in and stuff. So,
I mean, Fraser's a winger, isn't
he? Yeah.
Murphy played on the left most of the time for Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a left winger for Bournemouth.
Yeah, but we play him on the right, so.
I know, but I mean, how is Steve Bruce is going on about how he can't play them in the same? Well, he wants to play them in the same team.
That's why we were bad for a while, isn't it?
But like, so you must have some sort of plan where you can play them both.
You would think so. Well, there's a good one. What's happened to Richie? I mean, me and Jim, you remember going to the games, watching Richie launch corner flags into the crowd.
Like the thing is, what's happened to him? He's been one of them players who's he's been phased out, and everybody sort of forgot about him. So you never sort of think about picking him in your team.
Well, I didn't even think of him picking my team.
Sorry, go on, Craig.
I was just saying, he didn't even register that he was still there when I was picking my team. Like you're saying, phased out. Everybody's kind of forgotten him, haven't they? It's kind of
need for a relegation battle, though, isn't he?
But yeah, he's got the fight, and this is why.
Where would you play him? Where would you play him? He's not, because he can't really get on the wings, and he's not a right back, is he? And
well, the left back position would be the other place for him, but he's not a left back either. But I mean,
when you go down wing backs, maybe that's about it.
We're going to have to go with 3 at the back again. We haven't got 3 centre halves. We're done with that. And then you've got Kraft on the other side.
Paul's coming to one. He says he's got a feeling it's going to be a 5-4-1. I mean, Bruce does like a 5-4-1, but he hasn't got 3 centre backs unless he puts Hayden there, and we don't want to see that again. So I'm hoping Graham Jones
like you say
here again. Yeah, Dummett, I suppose. Mr. Andy Gay. All right, lads. All right, Andy. Glad you're watching. Evening all from Christian. There's a lot of talk on Twitter saying that De Bradford will be in goal.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of that. I mean, I won't believe anything until we see the team sheet, to be honest with you, because you know what Bruce is like.
Well, Bruce wasn't exactly positive with Darlow after the Man U game, was he?
No, he wasn't. No, so
which was a little bit
So
sharp.
we just need to follow some of the Newcastle Fantasy Premier League teams to see
yeah,
Dalo out or not.
I know.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, Chipaz is a good lad. Sam on Twitter. He's a nice to see you, mate. Watching lots of players are falling out with Bruce, so this brings up a good little talking point very quickly. I've heard the Longstaffs have fallen out with Bruce because I believe Bruce blamed Sean for the defeat against Sheffield United, and he went and had words with him. So because he fell out with one, he's fallen out with both of them, and he's been told there's going to be no game time to either player unless it's absolutely necessary, which is shocking when you're in a relegation battle and you're struggling for numbers in your squad as it is. What's your take on it?
Yeah, what is
Go on then, Craig.
well, last season they were pretty good. This season they haven't really performed, have they?
No.
So missing them, not a great miss to have them both out of the team. But like you're saying, we need numbers, we need performers. They'll give a shift, they'll work hard. If it's like that, I mean, isn't Matty's contract's out at the end of the season, isn't it? So I don't think he has signed a new one, has he? Is it out? Sean, is it?
He signed a new one because he could have left at the start of the season. He signed a new contract, but Sean's might be out of contract. I'm not too sure.
I'm sure there was talk earlier on, but you don't want to lose one of them. But
no, but what about the confidence as well, being told that? And then if Bruce turns to the bench and pulls them on, what kind of reaction are the players going to give him?
Well, in my eyes, I think the whole thing it's really strange. Like they've obviously both something's happened. What were we saying, Barry, about what was the question you were saying?
So both the brothers have been completely overlooked because of a falling out with Bruce. So if you look at the bench now, with them on the bench, and Bruce calls one of them on the pitch, are they actually going to give 110% for him? I don't think they will.
I mean, I think they'll give it 110% for Newcastle, though. I don't think they would ever on tools for him as opposed to playing for Newcastle United. And the young lads, aren't they? They're from like around the corner from here, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
true.
I don't think that would happen. I think the Matty Longstaff contract situation has definitely had an effect. That's pretty obvious. And if you look at the games he's played this season, it was like Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea. I'm sure it was like 4 ridiculous games in a row. And it's just like, I don't know what's going on there, because I was thinking about today, looking at my team, when I was picking my team, like the Man U game, I would have had Matty playing straight away.
Yeah, scored them, passed them twice, hadn't he?
You were just getting people's faces. Like if you looked at how that game went as well, Man U didn't even play. They were absolutely I thought like they were a disgrace. Like, you get our first game, it was easy for them.
Wasn't it?
After us actually playing quite well.
Yeah, we started off well, didn't we?
Well, we played well for an hour, but it's just bollocks. It's just at the end of the day, it's like that's what you need to do, and it's like terrible. But with Sean's like a one that I feel proper thrived on the Rafa, and then whether it's training or confidence, or obviously he had his injury as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it definitely needs to be. There needs to be a change, man. I don't want to lose them to me at all.
No, I don't want to lose them.
And if they're being frozen out, it's a tragedy. Like, it's a tragedy, and it's a tragedy it's a tragedy because of what's going on in the background. Not to do with us, and not to do with them. The Matty situation was a bit odd, like with his agents and all the rest of it. Like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was agents, that one, wasn't it? But again, I mean, you look at Man United bringing on a youngster from Walsall Boys Club, and why isn't he at Newcastle? You know what I mean?
Did you read his story today in the paper about how he was at Man City as well? Barcelona won. He ended up with Man United.
Crazy. But why on our club? I mean, he's supposed to be looking at youth. That's what he wants to do. He wants to bring young players through and sell them on for a profit. And then you've got one of your hottest talents playing for Man United instead. It's crazy. Evening, David. Thanks for joining. We've got Christian again. Is that the real lineup? No, Christian, that was just us three coming up with 3 different lineups and 3 different formations that we think we should play against Wolves. So the lineup's only announced an hour before kickoff. So there's no way I'm high enough or any of these lads know Steve Bruce, and he hasn't leaked any information. So good effort, though. I wish it was one of the lineups, though. Again, you mentioned Kraft. He's our only right back, mate, so that's why he's playing. We don't want him to play, but it's just the way we are. And time for Carroll, that's come up twice. I think we need to play 5 at the back this weekend to double up on their wingers. What do you think to that? Just kind of impose their game on us rather than us imposing our game on them.
Yeah.
We've mentioned a couple of times about their pace, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the threat that they're going to pose a threat on from the width.
But I mean, we've got as much pace as them, really. If you play my super formation with Fraser and ASM and Armour, absolutely rapid, man. But I know what you mean. If you've got Neto and Traore against our fullbacks, it is worrying. But I would never go to play 5 at the back. We've got to take the game to them. We've got to look at the midfield. Everybody's just got to press.
Yeah. High press and pin them back, and then hope we don't leave holes at the back. Fingers crossed. A few more comments to go through very quickly. So Thomas this always happens on the Four Horsemen on a Monday night. So we've got a guy called John, and we think he's Joe Linton's agent. So the crack seems to follow into other people's shows now. So I saw John and Joe Linton and Blythe Butcher's ball dancing. John had a ring in his pocket. Love it. Cheers, Thomas. If you watch the show on a Monday night, you'll understand more about the Joe Linton crack. It's very funny sometimes. We're trying to get a Blythe Butchers to sponsor the show as well because they get mentioned that many times. It's crazy. Certainly agrees with that. You what? Sorry, pal.
Just saying, he's saying use Murphy at right back instead of Kraft.
Yeah, I mean that's been found out as well in my eyes. I don't think it works for me. But again, it's a good point. He does have pace. So, but I
need to be able to defend. Kraft can defend.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but both of them can't defend, can they? They're both leave holes, as far as I'm aware. So, Andy, I'm a massive fan of the Cells. A fan of a lot of the players when they aren't getting managed by a goat. Heads are down, not playing for the manager. Let's remember what the problem is. Yeah, the problem is the manager. It's Charney and it's Ashley, but Bruce picks the team. Bruce plays the tactics, but we hope Graham Jones has a big influence on it. But unfortunately, Bruce also makes the substitutions, doesn't he? And they were terrible against Man United. So, yeah, exactly. Well, I think he is set to arbitration. That ignores the club. That's another good valid point. But I don't think Ashley wants to deal with the actual day-to-day running of the club. It's Charney's job to do that. That's what he's paid for. But that's our way out of getting rid of Ashley, isn't it? If the FA get done by the lawsuit that's going on at the moment. Have you heard anything more about it? I've heard that they're going to fight it, the Premier League, so could be a long court case.
Well, it's arbitration now, isn't it? So it's just a wait and see situation again, isn't it? So we'll just see how that's not even a legal binding thing, is it? Arbitration?
No.
I think there's lots of people with lots of fingers having lots of thoughts, isn't there? In there, and it's one big mess.
It's just damaging to the club. It's just it's floating along with rudderless without a rudder, isn't it? It's absolutely it's a disgrace. Thing them were PIF walking away was probably worse than the Premier League just saying no. So then you could get on to find somebody else to buy it because we're not stuck in limbo, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, though. It's nobody's really taking responsibility for. I suppose that's what this is about, isn't it? So, who's stopping it? Who's actually going to make a decision to say, like you've just said there, get out, it's not happening, look for somebody else, or let's get on with it and let's get takeover.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in that kind of,
Paul thinks Darlow will still be in nets. There's a chance he still could be, but we all want Bracknell back. It's as simple as that. Bruce doesn't have a clue. Completely agree, Paul. He believes we should put Matty and Sean back in. It's finding a place for both of them. I think Sean could have a chance over Shelby potentially. Matty would have to take Willock's place, wouldn't he? So I think a place on the bench for Matty, maybe Sean for Shelby. What do you guys think?
It's a strange one. Go on, Craig.
No, you go.
All right. Matty, for me, more of a sort of in-your-face energy basket around the midfield, isn't he? So where Willock's more, he'll probably get in the box more. Like Sean's the outlier in a way where he's more of a sort of a Shelby, but a little bit higher up the pitch. I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
If you took Willock out, I would suppose Sean would be the most natural one to go into that position where you'd just be sort of in the attacking sort of midfield role, like the centre attacking midfielder. With Matty, if I don't know, I'd be more like an away from home battle sort of thing where I put him in. I don't know what you think about that, because maybe you have Hayden's, Matty, and then Willock if it was away from home.
True.
But at home, I didn't really want two defensive midfielders playing at home. Like, we need to get some points.
It's everything I need to, like you've been saying, like a bit more attacking. I think both of them, they seem a bit. That I'm going to say nothing players, but that's not what I mean. But you know, the kind of the box to box, are they ball winners? Are they like creative? They don't really have that standout. Where Shelby, you know exactly what he is and what he does. Hayden as well, you can kind of put this is what he does. That he's in the team to do that. Whereas I think Sean and Matty haven't really got that specialism. They're good players, don't get us wrong. Yeah. They do an effort and like put performance in and add to the team, but it's trying to. I think you need at the minute you need players who can do something and you know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And then they haven't featured recently, so it's fitness, confidence. Do they, you know, how's that going to affect the rest of the team and fit in with the style of play that we all want them to do?
It's true. I think Paul's referring to Shelby there as Humpty Dumpty.
Well, you're talking about my head, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, that as well, potentially. Sam, again, only reason I said 5 at the back is that they will target Kraft and Lewis like Man United and Chelsea did, and they will need help. Dummett left side, centre-back, and Clark right side centre-back. Yeah, I see your point, Sam.
Because Man U clearly targeted Kraft, like...
They did, yeah. Like, well, for the first goal, they didn't.
The ball, you shit their pants. But the thing is, nobody, like, you could get a midfielder to do that. Maybe you get a centre half and a midfielder, like, to come across and get
Hayden would be your man, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I mean, playing 5 at the back at home is just something that I just don't think we should be looking at. Like, we should be going in there and taking the game to Wolves, like.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is why we want to play.
I can say exactly where he's coming from, though, because it's a massive problem both sides, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, you've got Hayden who can sit a little bit, and would he make you 5 without the ball? You're 4 with the ball going forwards, but then once they've got the ball, he could drop back a bit, and that gives a bit of leeway for the centre backs to do stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've got Joel, my old next door neighbour on. He's a Man United fan. He would have been happy with the result last week. So who would you replace Steve Bruce with? Very quickly, because we're all trying to talk about the Wolves game. But for me, Thomas Frank from Brentford, Eddie Howe, Steve Watson, even at York City, I would take with him being a local lad, with Lee Clark as his number 2. There's 4 names thrown in straight away who will probably do a better job than Bruce. Any of you boys want to add to those names?
I don't think Bruce is getting sacked.
I can't see that. Well, if he did,
got a moot point.
I can't really add to the list, because as long as Ashley's there, you're not going to get anybody worth their salt. Like,
it's true, very true. So
you might get Steve Watson. That might be about the level that you get.
I think Steve Watson can make a good manager. He's never had a chance at the higher level, and he's a local lad. He might have a Keegan effect potentially on the players. You know,
you just never know, do you?
Yeah,
he's next door neighbour.
Yeah, get him in. Jody, even and all, can't see Bruce playing the long staffs anytime soon, especially if the rumours are true about Sean getting the blame. Yeah, that's what I mentioned about the Sheffield United game. A few more comments very, very quickly. It's shocking, isn't it? Consistently average, Andy. The long staffs, that is. Score predictions for the weekend. He's saying 2-0. We'll do the score predictions at the end of the game. Looked at the available managers today. There are 45 available, and I believe not one of them would manage us. That sounds about right, doesn't it?
Nice.
Thomas is going to go 2-1 Newcastle. Paul's hoping for 1-0. Joel, cheers, pal. Thanks for watching, even though you're a Man United fan. Christian saying stay safe all. He must be off. Steve Watson has impressed me with what he did at Gateshead, which is one of the reasons why I said, but also living in New York now, it's my local team while I'm here. I think he's doing a good job there. Unfortunately, their whole league's been cancelled though because of COVID. Yeah, I get it, but we don't want to do that. Manager should never single out any player. That's true. And no bother.
Called up in the last interview. I thought after the Man U game, I thought that was a bit harsh.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem with Bruce, isn't it? This is why he's falling out with players, and that's why all the rumours on Twitter are saying that De Facto will come in. So, well, let's move on. Let's move on to Wolves. Let's talk about them for a little bit. So Wolves' last few fixtures, I said about 3 weeks ago they were in trouble. I thought they were a team that were slumping down, and then they played Arsenal, got a lucky break with Arsenal going down to 10 men, won 2-1, then drew with Leicester 0-0. Then had a bit of a shock result against Southampton, getting beat 2-0, but that was the FA Cup. Then they beat Southampton 2-1 in the league. They beat Leeds 1-0, just going past. That was a bit of a lucky goal in a way, coming off I think it was a crossbar and hit the keeper and went in. But they've seemed to find form again. They seem to be climbing up the league. I think they're safe now. What threat do you think Wolves are going to bring, Jim?
Well, I mean, it's sort of more of a case of what we're going to try and do to them, I think. Like, I mean, their away record is they've won 4 out of 12, scored 11. But our home record is won 4 out of 12, scored 15. And 5 of them were Callum Wilson. So we need to get some goals, basically. Like
someone else to score a goal. Right?
You what, sorry?
So we need to find somebody else to score a goal.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think this is like it's a must-win. This game, like I think if we lose here, looking at Fulham, even if you look at Fulham's fixtures, I feel Fulham could pick up points, like draws here and there, even though they're fixtures after. I think they've got Palace next.
Well, we're going to come on to that, Jim. Let's stick just to Wolves' threat. Let's just talk about that. Let's stick to Fulham. Yeah, we're going to come on to the other fixtures and league table soon.
Well, Wolves' threat, I think, is the wings, isn't it? It's where you've got Neto, Traore. The centre forward hasn't scored yet, like, so that's another threat because they always score against us for the first time.
You're not wrong.
I don't know. I mean, they're quick. They pass it quick. They're powerful, and they've got Moutinho and Neves in the centre, isn't it? Which is always a problem. Well, it's going to be a problem with the centre midfield. And you know, when you look at the formation I put it in, it's like just Hayden's by himself with Willock and then Armour on. It's a case of us taking the game to them, I think. Like, and them worrying about the gaps at their back instead of us worrying about our defence. We're at home, and I haven't got any fans and that, but it's gotten to the point now where we're gonna have to force the win or force the points.
I agree.
But
I've said myself, it's a must not lose. So,
what do you think?
Would you take a point, or is it definitely a 3 points?
I think at this stage you need to be winning, don't you? Really, especially at home.
He's got to win this game, man. You've got to win it. It's at home. It's against Wolves. Like, literally, they are a team around them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've got 33 points. You've got 25. It looks close in the league when you look at the bottom half, but it's not that close. Like,
at the start of the season, you would have. I mean, Wolves should have been 20 points out of us, not 8.
You would have thought they would be 7.
So they've dropped, and obviously, like you're saying, Baz, there. I mean, the four unbeaten. So they're hitting a bit of form. They're not scoring a lot of goals. Obviously, I think they're missing Jimenez. It would have been a
big miss, isn't it?
Big miss. Traore hasn't performed as he did last season either. He's had showed some glimpses, but he seems to have but he's a threat, and anybody against Newcastle's a threat, really, when you got Kraft and Lewis fullbacks. Moutinho's a nice player. He gives the ball. Neves is a good player, isn't he? There, that's a solid midfield. That's you take that kind of midfielder, gives you protection, gives you passing ability. They can find the players there, can't they? So,
yeah,
I think, like you're saying, I was saying before, I was looking at the possession. Wolves aren't a possession team either, so I think they've only had 47% possession. I mean, we've only had 38, so I mean, it's a difference there, but they'll probably have 75 on Saturday. But they're not a team who will look to keep the ball. So, yeah.
Well, you're right. I mean, they might want us to press onto them to hit us on the break.
Yeah.
So it could be a game of chess, couldn't it? Really, who's going to take the game forward and who's going to take the biggest risk? I'm a big fan of Neves. When I first saw him in the Championship, and then when he came into the Premier League, and some of the goals he scored were phenomenal. And I was like, oh, he's a player we should sign. But again, we're not the kind of club that can go out and sign players always. So it's always a pipe dream when you see good players like that, isn't it?
So looking at 2 seconds, just another thing when I'm thinking about my lineup there. See, that's another sort of like get Matty Longstaff into that midfield, because he would like proper annoy them centre midfielders, like, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I didn't know who you would take out. Obviously, you've got to have Hayden's there, and it would be probably Willock. But I mean, I suppose
you could take Shelby out potentially if you want, but then you miss out
I'm
a bit.
talking about my. I wouldn't have Shelby in anyways. Like, I think Shelby in against Moutinho and Neves is a danger.
I think you could.
In a way, I don't know what you think about that, but
yeah, like I mean, they do like the ball. Well, they can be dangerous with the ball, can't they? When they do get it,
yeah, of course.
So, like you say, you've only got Hayden who's going to actually run and get the ball. Willock
will do that, but it's like
he'll run and chase, you say, but he's not going to get in your faces. He might kick them and trip them out, but like you say, Matty might be a bit of a harassing.
He should be on the bench at least.
And you were on the bench. I think both of them were on the bench against Man United, weren't they? But they were just unused substitutes again. I think they were just there making up the numbers because of the rumours. So I guess we'll wait and see for the lineup and what happens. So I've got a few little current stats and form of teams, and I've got the league table up in front of me. So this is going to sound really horrible, but here we go. Newcastle last 6 games, lost 4, won 2. Wolves 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Like I say, they're on a bit of a run now. They've not lost in 4. West Brom either draw or lose at the moment. They've got 3 draws, 3 losses. Brighton 1-2, lost 2, drawn 2. How they got beat off Palace, I do not know. Palace won 3, lost 3. How they won, I do not know. Fulham 2 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss. So they seem to be the team that are also looking up and thinking
they're getting results. They're picking up points, aren't they?
Exactly. So the league table stands at the moment. If we get beat off Wolves and Fulham win their next game, we're in the bottom 3 on goal difference, which is very, very worrying. So looking at the fixtures further down as well, I mean, we've got what they class as winnable games. Now, I don't class Wolves as a winnable game, to be completely honest with you. I think it's going to be I'll be happy with a point, because I think Wolves are a good side. We've got West Brom away, potentially a winnable game, but 2 dinosaurs going against each other on the touchline. Yeah. We've got Villa at home. They're hit and miss at the moment.
Do you know that's been changed Friday night on BT or Sky?
Is it?
Aye. 8 o'clock.
I don't think Grealish is playing, so that'll be a big miss, won't it?
Well,
he's out
a big miss, yeah.
A bit of time, isn't it? So.
And then we've got Brighton away, which, again, after watching them play against Palace, yes, they didn't win and didn't put the ball in the back of the net enough, but they played some very, very good football, and that's quite a worrying fixture.
Yeah,
you've got to look at it this way. So I've got my point of view, you're going to have yours. And then we've got Tottenham at home.
Well,
there's 3 points.
There's 3 points there. So in the next... Well, there's an international break in 4 games' time, isn't there? So where do you think we're going to be in the league by that point?
So where's the international break come in? After what game?
4 games time. So that is after the Brighton game, I believe.
Right. Well, points-wise, off that,
It's putting you on the spot.
it is, because I think we're really shit, but I'm going to be hopeful for like 4. Which is 1 win and 1 draw.
So really a draw every game. So would a point a game keep us up?
I know. So,
But like you said, at the top, they are them next 4. Was it Wolves, Villa, Brighton, West Brom? If you're going to stay up, you need to be getting at least 2 wins. If you don't win at least 2 of them, then you're going to be in it. You're going to be in the shit if you don't do that. So,
I mean, looking for 2 wins, I would say West Brom away and Villa at home.
Yeah, and then pick up a point away from Brighton. Point on Saturday. Hey guys, 8 points.
Happy 8 points.
We're in the top half there.
We're safe. I love it. Looking at the run of fixtures for Fulham, though, they've got the winnable game against Palace, but then they've got Tottenham at home, Liverpool away, Man City at home, and Leeds at home. So really, they're going to be picking up potentially 4 points out of those games.
Palace away is difficult.
Well, they're not the way they're playing.
I bet you end up picking up points off the people you don't expect.
Well, this is it. I think Fulham are the one team in the bottom that could potentially upset Liverpool or someone like that.
They also, in the run-in, have Arsenal, Chelsea and Man U away from home.
And look who they've got last game of the season at home.
And
if it goes to a shootout, are we going to stay up?
I mean,
we're not good on last day relegation.
Deserves everything we'll get if we don't stay up, like, basically, because the squad's there. The players are there. It's you deserve everything if you get relegated, especially in this position. I mean, what was it before the start of the season? Or we're looking for 10th?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, then he quickly changed it to, well, staying up is our prerogative, and yeah. Then he says he wanted 40 points, and then he said after the last game, I don't know how many points we need to stay up.
And they still can't play like because they used to play in the same way as they used to play and all that bollocks.
Yeah,
absolute joke.
Total joke. Looking at a few months ago, they like
10 points
not long before Christmas, they were doing all right, weren't they? They were getting victories or getting wins, and then it all seemed to kind of fall apart. You blame COVID,
like football was though, wasn't it?
I mean,
but then you're getting points though, isn't it? It's kind of.
Is anybody surprised at the situation we're in?
No, I'm not.
Not over the last few weeks.
I mean, the football's been shite for, well, 18 months.
Season. Apart from against West Ham, we actually did all right against them.
Well, the first game of the season.
Yeah, first game of the season, yeah.
That was good. That's when actually we're going to get relegated because I thought they were rubbish.
Yeah, look where they are now, the 4th.
Maybe we should have got beaten that game.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so looking at Palace's fixtures as well, obviously they mentioned the Fulham game, but then they've got Man United at home, they've got Tottenham away, they've got West Brom at home, which is obviously a winnable game potentially, then they've got Everton away, and then Palace at home as well. So they're going to be struggling up picking up points. So if we can't get 8 points, we might find there's a 5-point gap again, potentially.
Yeah.
Brighton, again, they've got Leicester at home, Southampton away. They're starting to falter a bit, Southampton. They've got us, obviously, at home. We're at home. And Man United away. And they've got Everton at home as well. So they could potentially be only getting maybe 4 points out of those games when you look at them. West Brom have got Brighton at home, Everton at home, Newcastle at home. They've got 3 home games in a row, Newcastle at home, and then Palace away. So West Brom will be looking at those 4 games thinking we can probably get 3 wins, maybe 2 wins and a draw out of them potentially.
I think there's a few teams in there down at the bottom who
you're looking at the bottom
you would have looked 2 months ago. It was the bottom 3 were done, weren't they? But Fulham have started to perform. And then there's a few teams above dropping.
Southampton and Palace are eating me, I think.
I mean, they're all right, but if you look at their form, Southampton must be just a teeny little bit worried about how many games they've lost recently.
But you're talking about football being terrible.
Goal difference as well, haven't it? Compared to everyone else,
But then, like you say, football might be terrible. Brighton are playing really good football, and they're still down there. They just kind of put the ball on the back of the net. They're playing really well. At the end of the day, you need it.
We're playing the best football we've played for ages, and we're still shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's all very worrying. What's Chipper's got to say? Wolves have pace and our defence is static. Why I went for 5. I agree I hate 5 at the back, but if we're going to do what against them, they're going to rinse us for pace. So, yeah, I mean, it all depends if Wolves come out at we want to take the game to them. It could leave us open at the back. Sam could be completely right, but I just don't like playing 5 at the back either. And Jim, you don't. Winks, you don't like playing 5 at the back. It's just, this is our thoughts, Sam. I mean, you're entitled to yours.
No,
you're right. And
we are really open to a lot of pace, and they could destroy like a lot of teams have. But Wolves are not Man United, and they're not Arsenal or Chelsea. So I just think we're gonna have to start taking the game that the teams are playing against, especially when they're looking around where we should be picking up points, especially when we need to get through this. I think this is a must-win game. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If we lose this, we're in McLaren territory, and I think we're going to be fucked.
Yeah, well, we already are there. I put out a bit of a stat last time. After 25 games, we're literally a point ahead at this time when McLaren was in charge last time when we went down.
Really?
Only a point ahead. Yeah, a point ahead. So it's very mirrored to what happened last time. So we just got to hope we get ourselves out of it somehow. Paul agrees with Chippers. I mean, we sort of do agree with him, but we don't. I mean, it's like I say, we're all entitled to our opinion. Paul agrees with Chippers as well. Need legs in midfield as we can get outworked. Shelvey needs to be dropped. I think Jim agrees with that. Yeah. I would like Shelvey in for if Wolves are going to attack us. I want Shelvey to be pinging those balls in the corner.
What does 5 at the back be?
That's a good question. He hasn't put that in there, but I think he put Murphy as right wing back, didn't he? He wanted so.
And we've had 5 sometimes this season, and we still haven't. That hasn't worked either, has it?
Yeah.
So,
no, because Murphy does not know how to play as a right wing back, does he? He always finds himself out of position, so it still could end up opening up one of the wings quite easily. So. Paddy Power paid out in Fulham getting relegated 4 games ago. Oh, it was after 4 games, wasn't it? They said they'd seen enough and that they closed all the bets. It's crazy, and there's a chance they're going to stay up. So,
would you swap Steve Bruce for Scott Parker? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. I had a good little quote somewhere from. See if I can find it quickly. Scott Parker, I feel like every game we can play, we can win. Steve Bruce, let's say where we are at the end of the season. I mean, who gives you confidence on that?
What did you think of the Steve Bruce, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer love-in at the end of the Man U game?
God, it was terrible, wasn't it?
That was
absolutely terrible. I had a big say on that on Monday night, and I said that if you want to have a talk with the opposition manager and you want to have a laugh and joke with them, you do it behind the scenes. You go up to the room, you open the bottle of wine like they do at Manchester, and you sit down and talk to them, have a laugh there. And you do not do it live on the camera in front of the fans and in front of the players because it looked horrible.
It was
yeah, pretty much. What's Paul? So at this point, we could get 6 at the back and we're still struggling. Exactly, Paul. This is why we stuck with our 4. Chippers is coming with Kraft, Clark, Lascelles, Dunman, Lewis. If I was playing 5 at the back and you wanted to protect, I would have Richie playing at left back rather than Lewis.
But there was just one in front, though. So it's like.
So they'll have, I'm guessing, 5 at the back, Hayden. Then you probably have Willock. You might drop Willock, won't he? You have to probably drop Willock and play ASM, Almiron,
Maximilian Almiron,
basically, and they're playing with one up front. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't play Lewis either in the back 5. I'd rather play Richie because of his passion and his fight, and he's also got a bit more quality when he goes forward as well, where Lewis won't have that quality. But again, I wouldn't want to play Kraft at right wing back either because Kraft's crap. You see them trying to cross the ball. Jesus Christ! Even I could put a better ball in than him.
You'd have like both would have cover, I suppose, but then you're taking it out with our.
Yeah,
exactly.
You need to be getting on and giving it going.
Paul says Chipper should play in front of Kraft. Probably agree with that. I've never seen Chippers play, but there you go. Or Murphy instead of Kraft through lack of choice. Yep. And there's a lack for sure. So yeah, that's all the comments. So what we'll do is we'll wrap this up, boys, and we'll go with some predictions for the game. So Jim, what do you think?
Oh God.
You said it's a must win, so you must be looking at a win.
So it's Saturday night, isn't it? 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Another ruined weekend, probably. So I'm gonna go positive.
Go on then.
If it goes with my formation, I'm gonna say. I mean, it's such a hard one, but I just feel it's a must win. We've got to win. We're at home. I think we're going to win 2-1.
I like it. What about Craig?
We'll see.
Well, I was looking at the last 4 games we've had against Wolves have been 1-1. So, I mean, would you take a 1-1? You'd probably be happy with a 1-1 when we're looking at the fixtures coming up. Wolves, they are a better team than us. They've got better players, better manager. Yes, we're at home. We need to go and get a victory. But I think at the end of the day, if we can come away without getting stuffed, getting a 1-1 draw would probably be just good enough. But you know.
Let's quickly go for this one because Chippers has been talking about his 5 at the back. He's gone Murphy, Clark, Lascelles, Dummett, Ritchie, which it's a good one. Willock, Hayden, Matty Longstaff, ASM, and Almiron. It's not a bad team when you look at it like that. There is threat there.
False 9.
There's no striker. He's playing Almiron as a false 9, isn't he, in that one?
I think it's kind of put the Steve Bruce false 10s, actually, two of them.
Yeah, 2 false 10s. I love that comment. So, Craig, what did you go for? Sorry, mate, I didn't quite hear it.
I think I went with 1-1 in the end. I think that's probably 1-1. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to win, obviously, but
of course we will. We all want to win. Want to win
every
game.
Want to win, exactly.
Well, I had to give my prediction on Monday night, and my heart says, a 2-1 win, but my head says 1-1 as well. I think it's a must not lose. I'll be happy with a point as long as we can get 3 points in the next game, which is always a big if. I'm sure we'll have a good chat about that at some point.
What do you think?
Go on. No, go on, pal.
Well, do you think we've got a better chance of beating Wolves at home or West Brom away?
I think beating West Brom away.
Do you?
I don't rate West Brom at all.
Allardyce hasn't done much, has he?
I don't rate him. Allardyce hasn't done anything. But the problem is we've got Bruce as well. So it's 2 dinosaurs going against each other. I think it could be. I think we can nick it.
Right.
I mean, if we don't win that one, then we don't deserve to stay up, do we? Really, it's like
we're in big trouble.
Everything you get, like after the shit they would seen this
games, you should be winning.
Exactly. Yeah. Cheers, Paul. Stay safe yourself, mate. I'm looking forward to getting you on my show in the future as well. So thanks for watching. What's that, pal?
Just saying thanks to Paul J for watching.
Sorry. No. Yeah, you froze a little bit, mate. That's all. Yeah. Right. I'm going to remove you from the stream, boys. Don't go anywhere, though, because I want to have a little chat with you backstage. But I'm just going to say bye to everyone. Do you want to say bye now?
Yeah, already. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Right, guys, that wraps up the first show of the Look Ahead. Really enjoyed it, talking to 2 great lads about what's going to happen in the Wolves game. It's going to be a very tough game. Like I say, head says 1-1, heart says 2-1. Let's see what happens. Please look out for my next show, 2nd of March. Know Your Fans is going to have its 2nd episode. I'm really excited to do it because I've got a fan from Norway and a fan from down south coming on. So it'll be very interesting to find out why the hell they want to support our football club, especially the way it is at the moment. Because I don't enjoy it at times, but I enjoy doing these shows and putting a smile on people's faces. So please subscribe, please like, and please follow me on Twitter. And if you want to follow the guys as well, I'll put their Twitter accounts in the description. They're good lads and they'll interact with you anytime you want. So it's been a pleasure. Good night, everyone, and stay safe.